Hey, welcome to the show. I am on the frozen lake in the Northeast Kingdom, right in the middle of Newport, to talk to you about an event that's going to be taking place here. The first ever Lake Memphremagog Ice Out. Your $1 donation gives you a ticket to name the date and time when this Italian designer shoe breaks through the ice and stops the clock, mounted to one of Newport's best eateries, the East Side.
I always get that piping stuff like they use at marathons. I know, but I can't put the duct tape on with the gloves on.
Money raised will be split in half, with 50% of the proceeds to the winner and 50% to benefit Newport's Vermont North Country Chamber of Commerce events like Aquafest, the Fireworks, Chili Fest, and the ever-popular Chowder
Todd's
Fest.
gonna boo-boo. You don't wrap Christmas presents, do you, Todd?
No. I buy them where they get wrapped.
That's pretty.
So register online today for your chance to win the Lake Memphremagog Ice Out. Coming up, we've got racing legend Ken Squier, plus the music of High Ground. Brace yourselves, it's time for Late Night Saturday.
Late Night Saturday with Tim Kavanagh. Tonight, broadcast legend Ken Squier. The music of High Ground. And now from Alumni Auditorium at Champlain College, here's Tim!
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Wow. We've got a happy audience there. Are you guys happy tonight or what? All right, well, good evening and welcome to the show. It certainly was fun being back home and up on Lake Memphremagog, but it was even more fun, as you saw from the skit, how Todd Peranto and I were trying to assemble banners in place with a hammer and duct tape, because the world revolves on duct tape. That's all it is. I can guarantee that the cinder block is probably still in place right there, but the banners that we were tying down are more than likely somewhere up in Canada at this point. But we encourage you to visit the East Side Restaurant in Newport for your chance to win the Ice Out, or you can order your tickets online. It's just $1 at www.vtnorthcountry.org. How about that, okay? So go online. We're going to be giving some of our audience members a chance to go ahead and win some of those. I think that'd be great. Yeah, all right. Speaking of the cold, earlier today I was one of the commentators for the Magic Hat Mardi Gras Parade held in Burlington and was aired on WCA Extra as well as WCAX.com. Now, if you didn't get a chance to watch the parade, we are going to rebroadcast it right here on Channel 3 tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. So tune in. I know that you're here late at night right now, but tune in and watch the parade tomorrow morning. All right, and now, something I dreaded doing, because Hank, the angry custodian, who usually does this, is not here tonight. Aww. So now, like Hugh Jackman did at the Academy Awards, I'm going to sing the remainder of the show opening. Are you guys okay with that? All right. All right, so I'm going over here. Now, all right, so it's Keith, right? Yes. All right. We have got Keith right here right now, and Keith is from Essex, and what Keith is going to be doing is we're going to be playing the Moving Out segment. Tickets to Billy Joel's Moving Out, which is March 18th at the Flynn right here in Burlington, but you're going to have to sing. Are you okay with that?
I'm fine.
I'm going to have to sing, and I'm not okay with that. Okay, but you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, Joel, hit it. If you say goodbye to me tonight, not your part yet, where there would still be music left to write. What else could I do? I'm so inspired by you. That hasn't happened for
The longest time.
Oh, beautiful!
I've got your tickets right here for you. Nice job. I forgot that it was on the teleprompter, so you saw it the whole time, didn't you? That's all right.
I would have known that anyway.
You would have known it anyways? Well, congratulations. You stay right here for a minute because we're going to find out what Miss Jen has right now. She's got someone over on the prize wheel, and I believe that it's Sarah. Is that correct? Tina. Tina, also from Essex. She's spinning that prize wheel. We're going to find out exactly what it lands on. And look at that. It's landed on one of our favorite restaurants, Junior's Italian Restaurant. They have got 2 locations right here in Burlington, plus they've got a Mexican restaurant. But Tina, you've just won a $50 gift certificate, and we're going to throw in a jar of Jed's Maple Mud for you. All right, congratulations. Be sure to tune in to Star 92.9 for details about upcoming shows. We'll be right back with more Late Night Saturday right after this. Nice job. Congratulations.
Good evening and welcome to Late News Saturday. I'm Christopher Smith filling in for Wendy Duvall while Wendy is away nursing her newborn octuplets. Congratulations, Wendy. Well, Burlington's Mardi Gras parade kicked off today with flying colors. The parade had over 40 floats roll through Burlington's downtown. These floats were carefully evaluated by a panel of judges and a winner determined. Floats were judged on looks, style, and originality. Now, Tim gave us a budget to enter our own LNS float in this parade, but it didn't place in the top 10 for some reason. Take a look. I just don't understand it. In other news, dramatic changes in U.S. military operations as the Obama administration hammers out the new budget. LNS reporters have been told that the changes are extreme, yet cost-effective. Sources say the military will start using highly trained animals in military applications. We have obtained some exclusive Pentagon training photos. Let's have a look. There's counterterrorism units, airborne forces, and infantry ground forces. Very impressive. Remember, support your furry troops. Speaking of the economic downturn, the United States job loss is at an all-time high. We calculate that somebody in this country loses their job every 10 seconds. I, for one, am just thankful that I still have my job here at... What? He's going in a different direction? What's that supposed to mean? I'll give you a different direction. This is ridiculous.
Wow. Oh, geez. Sorry. Thanks, Chris. Sorry about that. What a bummer, folks. You know, with all the current economic crisis Chris was talking about looming around us and the winter weather keeping our cars from starting and naughty bits numb, it was a nice reprieve this week to sit back and enjoy the pleasant distraction that is Hollywood now. Now, got a joke for you. If an Indian kid, a killer clown, and a gay politician walked into a bar, that bar would be called the Academy Awards, and they'd all be ordering Oscars. That's right. The evening was an all-star event with Ben Stiller joining the Jacqueline Phoenix Hasidic Jew Club. And Hugh Jackman surprising us all that he's really Australian and doesn't really have metal claws growing out of his hands. It was no surprise, however, that Slumdog Millionaire garnered the most awards and that Hugh Jackman can't sing for crap. The unsung hero of the night, though, despite being mentioned in every other sentence, was nowhere to be found. I'm talking about Oscar, the real Oscar. That's right, folks. That gangly, garbage-loving, green, anti-gregarious grouch that stole the hearts and trash of millions of children was nowhere to be seen on that star-studded stage. When I asked about having the same name as the little gold statuette revered by celebrities, Grouch replied, quote, "You're telling me all this time I could have sued for the rights to my own name and got out of this dump? Bitch, I live in a trash can." I was then promptly escorted off the set by a furry elephant and the largest yellow bird I've ever seen in my life. Well, that's all the news that's not news. I'm Chad the Weather Guy, urging you not to smoke crack while watching TV. Tim, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Chad the Weather Guy. Always has something up his sleeve. All right, time to check in with Barometer Bob to see how things are going this evening. We've got Bob, he's one of our audience members. Bob, can you hear me out there? There he is right there. Bob, can you give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down? How do you think the show's going? Oh, he's going to pick his nose. Okay, good. All right, well, good. There's Barometer Bob for you. All right. In addition to owning one of the most successful and well-respected short track raceways in the country, tonight's guest is also the person responsible for convincing CBS to air lap-by-lap coverage of the Daytona 500 in 1979 and was instrumental in turning NASCAR coverage into the fastest-growing spectator sport in the country. Won't you please welcome Ken Squier? You got the standing ovation, my friend.
The second time.
Whoa.
Second time.
Second time?
Second time we've ever had a standing ovation for a guest.
Can I go back out and come in again?
Do you want to? You want to break a record tonight, my friend?
That's pretty cool, though. That's all right. I
Well,
like
you're
that.
pretty cool.
It's nice to be home.
Yeah. Well, you're busy. You just did a deal with Fox, you were telling me earlier this week. Is that correct?
Well, let me see. It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Daytona
That's right.
500.
Okay. Yeah. And how'd that go for you?
Well, it was great. I worked with Speed Channel, which is kind of a derivative, and it was terrific. A guy named Dave Despain, who does a great cable show called Wind Tunnel, and he and I started back in the 70s together.
Yeah.
He was a motorcycle guy, and we did the first motocross from the LA Coliseum together, and we'd been working different shows for a lot of years, and we got this opportunity to be there together. And Speed did an incredible job. They did 120 hours of television in a course of about 11 days. And
No
so
kidding.
we got to be on a lot. That was kind of fun.
I bet it was. So it never gets old for you then?
No, it never gets old. No,
Yeah.
no.
How did you get involved in racing? I mean, what was it that was driving you to the racing world?
Well, I was poorly brought up. And somewhere along, I just took a left turn and kept turning left.
So you never made it to Victory Row, you're saying, for that right-hand turn?
No, I contributed a few teeth and things and decided it was far better as an announcer.
I think you've certainly made it to Victory Row because you're such a successful man, not only with what you've done for the sport of NASCAR itself, but also locally what you've done with your 3 radio stations that you have, and is the owner of Thunder Road. Any Thunder Road fans out there?
We need all of you. Hang in.
Yeah. So you had to convince CBS back in the day. Now, this was unheard of. 1972 is when you first started your plight to try and get lap-by-lap coverage. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly. We started with an old show called Chevrolet Presents Sports Illustrated, or Sports Illustrated Presents Chevrolet. Anyway, and then that show got bought by CBS, and a bunch of us, Dick Stockton and all that crowd went over, and we became the NFL halftime. And somewhere along in the course of several years, I was doing those sort of homey features, and they said, oh, we got this goofy guy from Vermont, and he knows all about racing. Because in those days, the Tiffany Network did not do boxing, and they did not do motorsports.
Right.
They didn't want to see anybody die.
Right.
That's what they said. Well, that changed, and fortunately for me, so they started to get involved in motorsports. And it was a heaven sent. I mean, I was right there at the right time. It wasn't that I was any good, but I was the only one in New York that really knew kind of anything
Wait
about.
a minute, did you say that
how
you
they-
weren't any good?
Well, not particular. You know, I was bumbling around.
I
having a
wouldn't
good
agree
time.
with that, would you,
So
folks?
anyway, well, but I wasn't. What I really knew a little bit about was the racing. And I ended up doing the frog jumping contest out in Angel Park in California. That was a big feature, yeah. Those frogs would scare you. I mean, they could jump like 18 feet.
How big are we talking?
They were big.
Big frogs.
Yeah, they were big frogs. And I did a lot of motorcycle jumps and bodybuilding. I was very big on bodybuilding. You ever been near any of those bodybuilders?
No.
When they get really carved up and ready to go?
They get all like, they put that jelly on and stuff.
Well,
and
more
they're
than that
glistening.
more than that, the last 10 or 12 days they ate tuna fish.
Ooh.
One of my better interviews was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was standing interviewing, and I was about 4 feet away, and I Couldn't get closer. Oh my God. But I got to do a lot of that. I got to go all over the world doing bodybuilding. Not me. I mean, come on, hello. That would have not gotten any ratings, but it was really fun. But anyway, so they started, and actually we did some races flag to flag, but they were IndyCar races.
Yeah.
And then we went to Europe and we did Formula One, and then I was always at Daytona from about 1964 on. I worked down there, and I kept telling them, I said, the Great American Race, this is really cool, and there's all these people that go every year, and some really great people. The nice thing about CBS in those days was the guys like Frank Cherkinian, who was the master producer of golf. He did the Masters every year, directed and produced with 2 trucks. And he had done Indianapolis for teleprompter. People like that really cared that, well, if you're going to do the Daytona 500, do it right. And so they spent money. I mean, they had like 65 cameras this year, and we thought we'd blown the doors off. We had 18 in 1979, and we got very fortunate. We
had 18 cameras in 1979.
It was unbelievable. But they took the time, and they had great people come in like Brock Yates and Ned Jarrett, who would write features and tell the stories of the people. Because the sense was that there was a lot of stuff going on, but the one sport that sort of chimed with America were these stock car people. When I grew up here in Vermont, there were 23 tracks, and we could race 5 nights a week in Burlington.
Wait a minute, there was 23 tracks in Vermont?
In Vermont, and you could race 5 nights a week, and they did in Burlington. There was one out where South Burlington High School was. There were a couple out in the Bay. Then there was the one by the drive-in theater. That was fun. You go down the backstretch, and some of the movies they showed was terrific. But all over that, and that happened all over the United States when all that energy came back from World War II in the Pacific and the Atlantic. And when those cats got home, they weren't going to mow the lawn. They had something else in mind. And so you found these small little dirt tracks that were carved out, and some old fairgrounds. And that happened in fact, the racing capital of the United States is still Iowa. They have 35 tracks that run every week, 2 of which are paved. And that's where racing really comes from. Everybody talks about Daytona, and they talk about Atlanta and all that sort of thing. But where it really happens is on these short tracks like Thunder Road in Vermont. But there's tracks like that. There's over 400 of them in the country. And that's where you learn how to do it. And then it's like becoming a doctor. If you get really good after 7 years of it, then you advance. And when you get to running the Daytona 500, you're playing for the New York Philharmonic.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
Let me ask you, why Thursday night racing versus Friday night or Saturday night?
Well, because everybody got paid on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Barrie, Vermont is the granite capital of the world.
That's right.
Every other week they got paid on Thursday.
Oh, and, so you wanted that money. You wanted that.
Well, not only that, but there was a trick to it too, because everybody runs on Saturday night. So you're always competing with other people to get the equipment and get the drivers. And Thursday night, hey, what the hey? Let's go to Thunder Road. And it worked pretty good right from the beginning, and still works real good.
One of the most notable things at Thunder Road, or that you hear a lot about, is Bud Hill.
Well, what about Bud Hill?
Bud Hill, that's
If you've got another brand, we'll be glad to change the name.
Is that your sponsor?
No, sort of it happened that way. It just sort of grew, because, we never sold beer. We had a family grandstand. We didn't sell beer, but you could bring your picnic with you, and there was a lot of liquid picnic lunches.
Yeah.
And they were sequestered up on Bud Hill. And they're still there.
They're still there.
Some of them, I think, are there through the winter.
I love watching the kids down at the bottom of the racetrack, because the cans roll down Bud Hill, and they go and collect the cans all throughout the race.
And it pays to get Mother and Dad in next week.
That's right.
But the fun of it is that it's a family entertainment. It's something where you can go, and it's inexpensive entertainment, and yet it's that same old story.
Yeah.
The common man doing uncommon deeds, but local heroes, folks that we all know and that we've grown up with. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And just wrapping up here real quick, we want to touch base on 2 real quick things. Your radio station group that you have, Radio Vermont.
Radio Free Vermont.
Radio Free Vermont.
Yes.
And every Saturday can catch you music to drive to the dump by.
No,
right?
no, wrong. Music to go to the dump by. Although people... have a very intelligent audience.
Yes, we do. They called my bluff, I'd say, huh?
Yeah. No. But that program has meaning.
Uh-huh.
It goes back to the old days. Every town, one dump. Yeah. We have a right to mix our bulky metal objects with our putrescible waste. And we're not going to change how we feel about that.
There you go.
We get very upset about that.
There you go. And as we close out here to commercial break, you're an active board member with the Vermont Symphony Orchestra,
Yeah,
and
very
very
proud
of
of
that.
it. Yeah,
and they do a wonderful job. And if you haven't
you.
caught the Vermont Symphony Orchestra, make sure you go out and catch
Coming
that.
in March, great show at the Flynn.
At the Flynn.
Yeah.
All right. Ken, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here. You stay right here. We'll be right back with more Late Night Saturday right after this.
All right, thank you very much. And welcome back to the show, everybody. Taking to the Fairpoint Communications stage is a 6-piece band performing the hottest country and most popular classic rock tunes on the charts and have the diversity to appeal to audiences of any age. Won't you please give it up for High Ground?
Just move on out, don't forget to pack your life. You can take your leather boots and your George Strait knockoff hat. And don't forget that old guitar, 'cause I won't be needing that. I might be the greatest love that your cold hearts never felt, but I won't be just another notch on your worn out cowboy belt. Crying like a little baby when I tell you we're all done. You can take your leather boots and your George Strait knockoff hat. Don't forget that old guitar, 'cause I won't be needing that. I might be the greatest love that your cold hearts never felt, but I won't be just another notch on your worn out cowboy belt. You're still denying that a woman can roll you away. Better turn down that eagle, darling. Listen to what I say. You can take your leather boots and your George Strait knockoff hat. Don't forget that old guitar, 'cause I won't be needing that. I might be the greatest love that your cold hearts never felt. I won't be just another notch on your worn out cowboy belt. No, I won't be just another notch on your worn out cowboy belt.
Experience the taste and hospitality of Vermont's Little Italy at Junior's Italian in Colchester. From fine dining to pizza and all of your bakery or catering needs, Junior's Italian, when only Italian will do.
All right, welcome back to the show. High Grounds are our musical group. Their music, they've sold over 1,000 copies of this. It benefits David's House. You can find out more about that on their website. But that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. My thanks to the people of Newport for organizing the Ice Out, to my guest Ken Squier, and to High Ground. Next week on the show, we'll get a visit from Rich and Mary of Champ Rocks, Morning Mess, and the music of Sonia. Remember, support local artists just like the folks you've seen here tonight. We'll see you next time right here on Late Night Saturday.
city folk head to toe. Mama's fancy high heel broke out, seen it all before a million times. Can he ride the tractor? Can he pet that cow?